A weathered dock. The port town extends an offer to passing ships. Using your hand, you make a baby's footprint. A young man bound for Ludor was wed to a spinster so old, nearly dead. Though drunk on the wine, he'd felt fine at the time, but his sober head now fills with dread. It's already got things straight. You're too far away. A charming village sits atop a bluff overlooking the ocean. The port town The ocean surface shimmers in the sunlight. That might take whole days to cross. It's not the best drinking water. The weather would better wear these rocks down. The rocks form an obtrusive obstacle. You can't climb the rocks. The sandy stretch continues along the coastline. The sand would provide a poor substitute for even your meager meals. You forgot your bucket and spade. Ah well, next time. The rocks, the cliffs, though impressive, impede your passage inland. There is an easier way to reach the top of the cliff that doesn't involve climbing trees on your part. You were never much good at palm reading. Try turning into an earthworm first. The cliffs. An offshore breeze travels up the cliff face, causing this solitary palm tree to sway in the updraft. You can't scale them, and there's an easier way regardless. Try turning. You were never. Be careful, the water gets deep quickly. Being raised on a mountain didn't leave much time for learning to swim. There is no answer. You should be very particular about what you touch in here. You feel very small and uncomfortable in this big chair. This chair is much too hard. You sink too deeply in the overstuffed chair. This chair is much too soft. You should be very particular about what. The window does not open. You warm your hands by the fire. The bears aren't known for hiding their prizes behind paintings. The bears take each step carefully. You should be very. You're glad the real ones aren't here. You're glad. You apply some spittle to the glass, then wipe it off. Old habits, eh? Shh! Have you forgotten? You're not supposed to be here. You haven't been asked to chair. You're not traveling that way. Cheery flames crackle in the fireplace. The bears must feel the cold. Homely bunch, aren't they? Homely. Outside, you see the forest. The medium-sized chair looks soft and comfortable. The wooden chair is very large and solidly built. Cheery flames crackle in the You are in the charming, cozy home of the three bears. There are bowls of porridge on the table, a far cry from the fish, honey, and berries you were expecting. There are bowls of You taste the porridge and decide that this bowl of porridge is too cold. Yuck! Definitely too cold. Yuck! Yum! It's just right. Ow! Definitely too hot. You taste the porridge and decide that this bowl of porridge is too hot. Just right. So you take it with you. You are in the Bear family's cozy bedroom. 3 beds share with a chest of drawers. You sincerely hope that head isn't real. After all, what species would hunt its own? A dresser sits in the corner of the room. This is a big old bed. It must be Papa Bear's. This bed looks just the right size for you. This looks like a nice soft bed. Maybe it's Mama Bear's. You closely examine the contents of the drawer. You can't use that item there. A small green bottle rests in the bottom of the drawer. You can see a very ornate pincushion in the bottom of the drawer. Something tells you it belongs to Mama Bear. A small blue bottle rests in the bottom of the drawer. This drawer is filled with various implements for sewing. It must belong to Mama Bear. This drawer... Your clothes may be in need of repair, but you hardly have the time to worry about such things. There is no response. There is. As handy as a small bottle may be in other games, you see no use for it in this one. Your clothes may be in need. There is nothing. There is. You don't feel like sitting down and taking a bite. Maybe later. You lie upon the smallest bed and snuggle down into the pillow. This bed is just right. You've fallen asleep. Oh no, Papa Bear has found you sleeping in Baby Bear's bed. You're in for it now.
Keep out of our house, human! Scram!
You'll create no magic around me, Quillian.
Looks like you were caught red-handed.
Hurry along. But
It's a...
The trunk is home to a fair few bees. These two are certainly unsavory rogues. What a beautiful garden, you think. The residents must take great care of it. Dew has formed on the petals from the night before. You take a handful of fertile soil from the garden. You can't use that item there. What a... Your meals have been meager, it's true, but a garden? You can't. You're on private property. Some discretion is called for. You can't. A cottage sits near the southern edge of Ludor. It is fronted by a picket fence and well-tended garden. You don't live here. Best not draw attention to yourself. A white picket fence borders the southern edge of Ludor. There is nothing in the wild beyond that could help you, and there's no sense picking up pickets. It smells of fresh paint. You can't.
Scram!
They're not as useful as you imagine. The rocks can keep themselves entertained. Some large rocks lay near the house and garden. One of the trees has a light green plant growing on it. Closer inspection reveals it as mistletoe. The mistletoe hangs from the branches of the tree. There are few dried sprigs mingled with the green mistletoe. It may have a more important use than eating. That custom is tailored for two. There is no need to climb this tree. You search among the hanging mistletoe until you find a sprig that has dried. You break it off and carry it with you. You can't use that. The trees are smaller nearer the coast. Looks like you were caught red-handed. The trunk, that would be inviting trouble. You can smell the honey from here. Several bushes and small trees grow in this part of Ludor. Several bushes. A scrawny tree grows on the desert border. These two are certainly You are not a murderous boy, Gwydion. After recovering, Manannan's mountain sits to the north, a mound of overrated sediment. A little cottage lies to the south as you stand between the desert and the port town. The grass serves its purpose best when left underfoot. Mananan once spoke of this area, something to do with wild ruffians. Maybe you should keep your voice down. You pick and poke among the fallen acorns. You retrieve the dried snake skin from the hot desert sand. It's delicate and could easily crumble. The 3 acorns are dried and brittle. The dry, thin snake skin is extremely fragile. Leave burying acorns to the squirrels or their ancestors. Better keep your hands off it. It'll crumble to pieces if you're careless with it.
Days, they're all the same. I have no plans. My life's a shame. I'm soon a man, little I know. Should I care? I've nothing to show. Youth spent crying.
You are not a murderer. You can't use. The bard wouldn't be interested in that.
Pain throbs to my chores, replacing toys. What are they for? Can I feel joy? I've never heard the sounds of cheers. Only the birds see tears falling.
The bard would. This item cannot be used on itself. The knife is big enough. This item. 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 This. 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 There's nothing. The bard wouldn't be interested in that.
Home. Is there a place I'm meant to be? Where there's a face I want to see? Then I would leave this past behind. No more reprieve. Through with hiding.
It's a water pitcher, full to the brim.
Why does the end not come to me? I'll try again.
It is not considered good form to handle strangers' belongings prior to introducing oneself. You're not sure you could drink it all. You can't use.
Days, they're all the same.
The perplexed bard is composing some poetry. His lines might be depressing, even close to home, but take it easy.
Greetings. That's an interesting poem.
Thank you. I wrote it myself. It's not finished, though.
What is it about?
It speaks of a young man longing for a better life.
Naturally.
Just as I long for the seductive murmur of an audience anticipating my every word. Say, are you busy?
Fairly.
pain.
This is a pleasant area, even in the shadow of Manannan's mountain. A huge tree stands at the edge of the desert, sharing its shade with the boulder beneath.